So in today's video,
I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to apply foundation.
boring, right? I mean, there are a million other videos on YouTube which says that how to apply your foundation. And एक आधी तो मैंने भी बना रखी है यार अपने चैनल पे. So what is going to be different about this? Have you all faced issues like sweating and melting of your makeup, or say your foundation starting to turn gray? Guess what? I'm going to solve all these issues in this video, as well as I'm going to show you how to get a flawless, full coverage, very natural, yes, full coverage yet natural foundation base. And we are going to start right now. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell notification so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. So the first thing that I want to tell you all about this video before even getting started is that skincare is extremely important while you are applying your foundation. So things like sweating or melting of your foundation or your makeup, or say graying of your foundation, like the foundation turning gray as the day goes by, all of this happens because you do not follow a good skincare routine before applying your makeup. Now when I do my normal makeup tutorials, I directly start from primer, but before I actually sit to do my makeup, I always do those skincare steps. And now today I'm going to tell you how I do those skincare steps, so keep watching. Okay, so like I said, the first step in any kind of makeup look has to be your skincare. So the first thing that I've done is I've cleaned my face with a face wash. I have used this Lakme Blush and Glow. This is my holy grail. If you haven't watched my favorite products video till now, then I'll link it up here and you can check it out. So I've used this to clean my face, and now I'm going to apply a moisturizer and my lip balm to prep my skin extremely well. For moisturization, I am going to be using this Himalaya Nourishing Face Cream. So one thing that I have noticed in oily people a lot, ki oh, I have oily skin, I don't need moisturizer. Babe, every skin type needs a moisturizer, because if you don't moisturize your face, your skin produces that extra sebum in an order to keep your face moisturized. So do you really want that? No, I'm pretty sure you don't want that. So even if you are oily skin type, I would suggest you to go for a gel based moisturizer so that you give at least some amount of moisturization or say hydration to your skin, because it is extremely essential. After having moisturized my face, I am going to be prepping my lips with some lip balm, because I mean, come on, we all are going to be wearing some or the other lipstick, and then people complain about chapped lips की लिपस्टिक लगा के हमारा स्किन निकल रहा है, और लिपस्टिक लगाने के बाद मतलब it's bleeding, it's not staying, our lips are feeling dry. So the secret is apply a lip balm. I'm using this Vaseline lip balm. This is in the variant cherry. It's not a very thick lip balm, so you won't have that big fat layer of lip balm beneath your lipstick, which will not make your lipstick actually slip. So now, how do you actually prevent your skin from sweating? So like you can see, I am already sweating because it's really hot. Okay, so now what I am going to be using is a very nice hack, and you should use this too in an order to, you know, prevent your skin from sweating a lot. I mean, of course you're going to sweat a little, but not so much that your makeup is actually melting down. So here's the secret to it. So here's the ice cube, and I have taken it in tissue paper. So now I'm going to just wrap this ice cube into this tissue paper, and I'm going to start tapping it on my face. Now why I am doing this is because, do you guys know where the sweat comes from? It comes from the open pores of your face. Now having open pores is not a bad thing, because just like our nostrils are made for our body to breathe, the open pores are made for our skin to breathe. So Having open pores is not bad, but when they are very big inside, what happens is they often, attract all the gunk and all the dust particles that are there in the environment, thus clogging them. And when these pores produce sweat or oils and everything, they mix up with these dirt particles and they form into a pimple. But right now, since I'm going to be doing my makeup, I am using this. So what ice does is it actually shuts those pores, and it also tightens your skin to some extent, if I'm making sense. So doing this really helps in controlling the oil secretion as well as those open pores to remain closed. Now I'm going to let this dry. Okay, now that the ice has done its job, my skin is actually not sweating. So now we are going to move on to the next very important step, and that is priming our faces. So for today, the product is going to be this Maybelline Master Chrome Primer. Now the reason we want to use a primer, now listen to this carefully. This is the ultimate reason why you have grayness on your face. Like थोड़ी देर के बाद फाउंडेशन लगाने के बाद आपका चेहरा काला पड़ने लगता है, ग्रे होने लगता है. So here is the reason. What happens is when the foundation is applied on your skin, number one, your pores, they excrete some sebum, which is completely natural. Second thing is the air comes in contact with the foundation. Now there are two things that play a huge role in this, but one thing is in our control, and that is not letting the sebum react with the foundation. So you need to fill in your pores so that when they excrete the sebum, the primer there holds it in, doesn't let it react with the foundation, and you do not have any graying issues because of your own sebum. So you do not have to take like a huge chunk of primer. Don't take primer as much as you take foundation. You don't need that much, because primers usually have this quality of spreading out a lot. So a little goes a long way. So आपने क्या करना है, you just have to take a little bit, like just this much, if you can see. Alright, so we are going to start off with this. Now the application, the technique of application also matters a lot. So you have to like spread it in between your fingers like so, and then you have to concentrate it on your T-zone where you have the most amount of pores. And now whatever is left on your hand, you can apply it on all over the face, but start focusing it while applying on your T-zone. So that's what I'm doing. The first place I'm targeting is my bridge of the nose and my upper lip, because I have a lot of pores in these two areas and I sweat so much in these two areas, I can't even tell you. It used to be a nightmare for me until I learned these techniques. I mean, makeup was a nightmare for me because of these two areas on my face. But after I started following these techniques, I'm sorted. Now the next step is correction. Now a lot of people have a lot of spots on their face. So what do we do for this? What we need to do is we need to color correct our face. Now here is one thing. I wouldn't suggest you to go ham on your color corrector like a very orange shade or something, because it gets really difficult to cover up, okay? Instead, go for a concealer that has peachy or orangey undertones. Now something that I really enjoy using is this Wet n Wild PhotoFocus Concealer, and this shade is medium Tawny. If you see it carefully, it has this orangey peachy kind of an undertone. This really helps me out in cancelling these dark areas. So we're going to color correct now, and for color correction I will be using this brush. Okay, so I'm just going to take it and I'm going to concentrate it on the inner corner, that is the inner orbital bone, this is the darkest place under your eyes. Okay, so concentrate it there and then bring it a little down, and then whatever is left on the wand, just take it a little over here. Now the other areas that I want to cover up a bit are these spots. So one spot is here, then the other one is here, a little around my mouth, because we all Indian ladies have this pigmentation, and a little over here. Now the tip and the trick to get the maximum coverage out of the concealer is to let it stay for a while. What happens is, as the concealer dries in, the pigment dries on the skin, thus giving you more coverage. So I'm gonna let this whole jazz sit on my skin for a minute or so. Now that this concealer has been sitting on my face for a minute or so, I'm going to be taking this PAC 219 brush. This is my favorite concealer brush, okay, my favorite concealer brush, especially for concealers where I just want to concentrate it on a particular region. So I'm going to be using this and I'm going to start blending out the other areas before my under eyes. Now there's a technique. While you're blending out, make sure you're not moving the product, like you're not going like this, okay? Don't do that. Make sure you are tapping it or at the same place where the product is placed. So this way you see the amount of coverage it has got, and it has only and only settled at the areas where I want it to be and not elsewhere. So similarly, I'm going to concentrate the patting motions on the areas where I want the coverage and not move it around a lot. This way I will get the maximum coverage. Same for the acne scars. You see how this has got a slightly peachy undertone, because of which the darkness is getting covered and it's not orange on the face. Now even when you're blending the concealer on your under eye, pat it at that place. Do not move it all around. So far, very good. Now we are going to move on to foundation, which is the actual purpose of this video. So for foundation, the product of choice is this Maybelline Super Stay Foundation. I'm in the shade 220 Natural Beige. Now, don't go in directly with the sponge. How I want you guys to do it is like this. Take a bit on the back of your hand, like so. Next up, I am going to warm it on the back of my hand. You see? Now I'm going to dot it all over my face. Now take a damp beauty sponge. You have to wet a sponge under the water for like say 30 seconds or so and squeeze out the water very nicely, and then we are going to use this sponge for blending out this foundation. And then I am going to stamp this thing on my face. Now make sure you are not dragging it. What will happen is the layer of color corrector as well as the moisturizer, the primer, everything, all the efforts that you have taken till now is all going to go in vain if you drag the sponge. You have to stamp it. If you don't stamp it, it will remove all the product and you will be left with zero coverage, no layer, and eventually your foundation is going to turn gray. So just dab, dab, dab and blend, blend, blend.
One eternity later.
Now guys, with your foundation, it's okay if you take like forever to blend. Like आपको अगर 100 साल भी लग रहा है ना इसको blend करने के लिए, just blend it, because the more you blend, the more flawless it is and the more, you know, less cakey it will look. Another reason why I like to use a blending sponge is because it soaks up the extra product, so you are not really left over with a lot of foundation on your face. A lot of times what happens is when you apply your foundation with your fingers or say with a brush, the extra product is left and thus it leaves finger marks or say streaks on your face. But with a blender what happens is it only lets how much ever is required on your face and it does not leave extra product on your face, because of which you get the most natural finish. I really like the finish of a beauty blender and I would suggest it even to beginners. Now the next thing is concealer, and for concealing I'm going to be using another shade of the same Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. Now for color correction I had used the shade medium Tawny, and for concealing my face or say highlighting my face with a concealer, I'm going to be using the shade medium Beige. I'm going to use that same brush that I had used for color correction. I normally love to use this same brush for everything under my eye or anything that has to deal with concealers. So again, I'm going to start with blending the other highlighted regions like my chin, my cupid's bow, the bridge of my nose and my forehead. And we are going to attack the under eye in the end. Now the final step for the base is setting all of this in place with a powder. Now for my under eyes I like to use a loose powder, whereas for the rest of my face I like to use a compact powder. The reason we use a loose powder under our eyes is so that there is no extra coverage or there is no extra powder left on the under eye, whereas for the face we do need some coverage. So the loose powder is just for drying down the concealer under your eyes, whereas for the face why we use a compact is because it gives coverage and we don't just need it for drying purposes. So the product of choice, I don't think this even is a surprise, it's like my favorite loose powder or under eye setting powder. It's the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. The shade name has just gone because the glue was probably off. This is in the shade 15 Light. Alright, so I am using it in the shade 15 Light. They have quite a few shades, so you can choose one according to your skin type, according to your skin tone. Sorry. I'm again going to use this brush itself. I'm going to take a bit of that powder on this brush and I'm going to set my under eyes. Now how I like to set it, again tap it. Doing the same for the other eye. Now taking this fluffier powder brush and taking this Maybelline Fit Me compact powder, this is in the shade 235, which is pure beige. I'm going to take this powder and I'm going to just dust it slightly on all over my face. You see how much of an extra coverage that gives? That's the difference between a compact and loose powder. Here when I applied the powder, it did not give me any coverage, but here it is giving me coverage. So that's the difference between a loose and a compact powder. Here we go. Now if you notice me from very close, wait, let me get you closer. You see any sweat here? No. You see any sweat here? No. So that is the difference all of these steps make, and it has not even grayed. Like I have had this foundation sitting for quite some time now, at least like 15-20 minutes, and if a foundation has to oxidize or turn gray, it starts happening in the initial few minutes itself, as soon as it comes in contact with the air as well as the sebums on your skin. So since my skin is not excreting any sort of sweat, a big yay. And since we have done all these steps, we have primed our face, we have used a certain technique to apply this foundation, We have had it all covered and the base looks flawless. I'll do the rest of my makeup and be back. And since the brush challenge is in trend, let's do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this will benefit you for each and every time you apply makeup here onwards. If you liked it, share it with your friends as well. And I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah! Bye.